Okay, guys, this one is a wild one. This case felt wrong from the very first headline. You know, there's this 18-year-old girl going on this family cruise. She's supposed to be making memories before graduation, and instead, she loses her life, and she's found underneath the bed on a Carnival cruise ship. It has been ruled a homicide by asphyxiation, particularly bar hold. And the public is only hearing just a fraction of what's really going on. So let me be very clear. The story is not a tragic accident. Some people tried to spin it in the beginning. This is a very rough, intentional act. And the timeline, once we break it down, will raise more red flags than a political rally. Let me tell you. And here's the part that really makes my stomach drop. The first attempt at silence didn't come from strangers on the internet. It came from inside the family. Illegal filing where Anna's stepmother tried to shut down public access and tried to silence the grandparents. And in the process, confirmed exactly who the FBI is investigating. This wasn't panic. It was strategy. And the judge, he denied it. He denied her filing in court. But today, I'm going to walk you through the truth. What happened to 18-year-old Anna Kepner? What led up to that night on that cruise ship? What investigators actually know, and why the official ruling of homicide by asphyxiation changes everything. This is the first time that I'm covering this. This has been in my vault for a few days. It's been sitting there, and I had other things come up, other updates on other cases that I covered. But today, I found more information that dropped, and I'm like, okay, I'm on it. So let's get into this, guys. Anna Kepner was 18 years old. She was a senior in high school, just a few months away from graduation. She was supposed to graduate in May of 2026, and she signed up for the military. She was accepted. She was looking forward to serving her country. She was bright, active, bonded with her family, and really looking forward to stepping into adulthood. And the cruise was supposed to be this great celebration with her family, a family trip, a break, a moment before she moved into her next chapter in life. Instead, this became her last. Anna wasn't some kind of troubled kid, sneaking around, getting into trouble. She was a normal teenager and surrounded by people that she trusted, including, well, I'm not so sure she trusted him, but her 16-year-old stepbrother. He became central in this investigation. Now, this was, like I said, November of 2025, the beginning of the month. Is when they went on this cruise. Anna and her family, they return. She returns to her cabin after a night on the ship. Okay, they're at dinner, right? And she looks at her grandma and she says, I think she called her Nana or Mama. Now, I'm not feeling very well. I'm going to go back to my room and I'm going to lay down. And it was at that point was the last time anybody outside of her, allegedly, outside of her stepbrother. There are claims that are online about roughhousing, but there is no verified statement, no evidence here. And at this point, all that they knew is that she went back to her room. There are a lot of rumors that are going around on the internet about this. Okay. I think, was it her brother or somebody else that said that they thought that they heard a lot the night before. Okay. Not the night of her passing. The night before, something that sounded like chairs being thrown against the wall, shouting and screaming. Hello, wouldn't that be a red flag to say to the adults, you know what? I think Anna and the stepbrother needs to be separated. But the night of her passing, at this point, the night something happened inside that cabin. There were no ship alerts, no medical calls, no panic, no report from the family that she was missing or unconscious or in danger. There was nothing. Now, the next morning, a crew member goes in to clean the cabin. Now, there's some speculation that there may have been a medical alert go off, but that's not verified, to my knowledge at this point. But this, I guess I don't know if you want to call her crew member or call her the maid. Probably the maid, because I think she went in to clean the room, right? They do that every night. Like, when everybody leaves their cabins and they go for breakfast. I was on a cruise in 2024, August of 2024, and we would leave our cabins and we would go eat breakfast and walk around and do whatever. Like before lunch or whatever, go back to our room. That's already been cleaned, beds made, the whole 9 yards. Well, this crew member had moved the mattress or something, and they found Anna under the bed, concealed. And there were like all these like life vests or something on top of her. She was wrapped up in a blanket. So she wasn't collapsed under the floor. She was under the bed. A normal human being is not, when they're not feeling well, they're not going to go climbing under their bed to take a nap. She's going to lay in bed, right? So that alone kind of eliminates the accident portion. I mean, you don't hide under your own bed in the middle of the night and be resting peacefully. Someone placed her there, especially to have life preservers, life jackets, life vests, whatever they're called, on top, right? So the official determination is not ambiguous. Investigators have already released that the cause of death was asphyxiation, and by means of a bar hold. A bar hold is a controlled choke hold. It's a choke technique that restricts the airflow or blood flow. Okay, and there was another. It was Brian Eaton. He interviewed a detective, and that detective explained what the bar hold was. How it's in the crock of your or your elbow. It goes around the neck like this. And he said the first thing that happens is the person does pass out, probably after maybe 30, 40 seconds, they're out. But then if you release, they start breathing again and they'll eventually gain consciousness. To get somebody to never breathe again, you have to maintain pressure for a few minutes on that esophagus. So it wasn't like the stepbrother had her in a chokehold, allegedly. Okay? Innocent until proven guilty. Eye roll. Okay? Innocent until proven guilty. But let's just play devil's advocate here. It wasn't like he got in a chokehold to calm her down or to win a fight or something like that. Because when she passed out, he should have been, oh shit, and released her. He knew what he was doing. He knew he didn't want to deal with her ever again. And this was his answer, in my humble opinion. So you can't claim that was an accident. Oh, I accidentally did this to her, if the investigation goes in that direction. But it was definitely ruled a homicide. This is not a fall. It's not alcohol poisoning. It's not a freak accident. It's not roughhousing gone wrong. So that bar hold requires intent, strength, proximity, and sustained pressure. This is a personal, up-close unaliving. So now, why is the FBI involved? Because this occurred in international waters. Carnival coordinates with the FBI Maritime Authority. this is where the case gets really interesting. Because it's not her biological mother. The stepmother admitted in her own court filing that her 16-year-old son is being investigated by the FBI. This was not leaked by media. It came from her own two lips. And right after that admission, Chantel filed a motion in court for a gag order. She wanted sealed the documents, preventing the grandparents from speaking, block public access to information, shut down commentary and discussion and exposure. She wanted everything buried. And it's all started because she was in a legal custody battle for her 3 children. And one of those 3 children, obviously, being the 16-year-old. I think there were 2 younger children. But she wanted everything buried. And the judge read that filing and basically said, denied, a big red denied stamp on it. So nothing's going to be sealed. Everything's going to be wide open. And courts do not deny gag orders in active homicide investigation unless something in that request smells wrong. It implies that the court saw no legal basis for silencing the witnesses or blocking scrutiny. And that was the whole thing. She was trying to avoid scrutiny. She didn't want anybody to know anything about her son or about her custody battle with her ex-husband. And now, about the stepbrother, the 16-year-old stepbrother of Anna. Now, this is not speculation. These are in his own documented behaviors, okay? This is documented. Now, his behaviors before the cruise. There were repeated concerns about anger, impulsive control, physical aggression, past violent outbursts. These have been mentioned by family members and family outside of his mother's side and a stepmother, okay? And the behavior on the cruise, there were reports of jealousy, obsessive attitude, conflict, sexualized comments, boundary crossing behavior. Again, this comes from family interviews, not rumors. Then after the incident, his behavior reportedly did not match grief, did not match a terrified teen who found out that they had lost somebody, okay? No freaking out, no tears, no, oh my God, I can't believe this happened to her. Looked more like avoidance and deflection. His age matters here also, because he is a 16-year-old, fully capable of a bar hold. Very capable of overpowering an 18-year-old girl. Panic afterward, concealing a body in the moment. This is exactly why the FBI is looking at him. And, these are what we know versus what is speculation. Okay? Confirmed facts. Anna was alive in the cabin. She passed by asphyxiation. Mechanism was the bar hold. Her body was placed under the bed. The FBI is investigating the 16-year-old stepbrother. The mother tried to seal the case. The judge refused. The cause of passing is ruled homicide. Things that aren't supported or things that have not been proven may even be a little bit of a stretch or a falsehood. Some are saying she never even made it back to the room, that she passed earlier in the night and was dragged, that she collapsed during roughhousing. It was an accident. None of those have evidence. What most likely happened, based on the timeline, the bar hold ruling, the concealment, the behavioral issue, the gag order attempt, the FBI investigation, this points to an in-cabin confrontation between Anna and her stepbrother. Something escalated. He applied a chokehold. He panicked. He hid the body. The adults either stepped slept through it, or didn't realize what had happened. And honestly, now I think about it, I'm not sure if I buy panic. Because, like I said, you have to continue to apply pressure. When she becomes limp and she's not breathing anymore, if your intent was just to slow her down, to exhibit some sense of control, not unalive her, she passes out, you let her go. But the fact that he kept it going, that shows intent. He meant for her not to ever take another breath. So after that happened, he says, okay, this is done. I need to hide. I'm not convinced that he panicked. He may have. He may have. After the deed is done, thinking, oh shit, what did I do? I just unalived my stepsister. Okay, conceal, let's hide. Maybe nobody will notice. Maybe we'll get on port and we can get off the ship and nobody will notice. That's how a teenager would probably think, right? But, something definitely escalated. He applied that chokehold. He panicked. He hit her body. All that stuff. This is the profile investigators are circling. Now, where things are standing right now is officially homicide ruling. That's public. The FBI investigation is definitely active. The family's really divided on this. There are no arrests yet because the reason why there's no arrests yet, the FBI has a 95% conviction rate. And they're not going to take this kid to court until they have all the evidence. Even though we have a cause and manner of her passing, the toxicology report's not back. The autopsy hasn't been released. They need that information, and they're piecing the timeline together. They want to make sure they have an airtight case. And the fact that he's 16 years old. And I do believe that after they got off the cruise ship that he may have made a trip to the mental hospital. I think. I saw that somewhere. Don't quote me on that. Do your own research, but I think he did go to a mental hospital. So when they take this to trial, if he ends up getting charged, all these things, his mental health and everything is going to play a role. So my best guess is they're probably going to try to get an indictment through a grand jury first before they go full on, okay, we're going to trial on this. And the public pressure keeps increasing. Yes, Carnival Cruise Line is cooperating with the investigation. So now it's just a time of waiting for the autopsy to get out of that pending zone, because right now it's pending release, for it to be released. And then everything is going to explode again when that autopsy comes out. This case is not going away. And Anna Kepner she wasn't some nameless girl found on a cruise ship. She was only 18, months away of graduation, months away from joining the military. And this whole world, lost her because someone in that cabin put their hands around her neck. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a moment that just got out of control. This was a homicide. And the truth is clawing its way to the surface. And I'm just remembering something else. I think it was Anna's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend that came forth and said that there was an obsession that the stepbrother had with Anna, that when they were on FaceTime one time, when the ex-boyfriend was on FaceTime with Anna one time, he witnessed on FaceTime the stepbrother coming in and getting on top of Anna against her will. That's what I'm saying. There's a history here. And from some of the sources that I have read, again, you could do your own research in this, that Anna's home life was not the greatest, but she's a survivor. She persevered. There was a lot of tension. Her father gets divorced in 2023. Then in 2024 marries her current stepmother. And then there's this family merger there. His kids, her kids. And it's just been tumultuous, to say the least. And Anna's like, I've had enough. I got to get away from here. That was one of the reasons why she decided to join the military, to get out of that environment and have a career, do something with her life. But regardless, I'll be covering every update that I come across on this case. And when those autopsy details drop, trust me, we're going to talk about it. I'm going to hop on here. But until then, I'm dropping the mic.